Our next guest is one of the most celebrated athletes in NFL history. There is no doubt about that. Recently retired from an iconic 20-year career in the NFL, he's known worldwide not only as one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game of football, but also as one of the most admired people in the world for the work he does on and off the field. Among the many records and the honors, he's the NFL record holder in career pass completions, career completion percentage, and regular season passing yards. And off the field, his humanitarian work, of course, it's amazing. Through the Drew Brees Foundation, truly inspiring, including a recent gift to help build healthcare centers throughout Louisiana in response to the pandemic. Now, he's the newest sports analyst with NBC Sports. Of course, we're talking about the one, the only, Drew Brees. Drew, welcome to Notre Dame Day.
Hey, thank you. Great to be a part of it. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Better talking to you. I just scratched the surface, as you know, of your career and your biography. We could have gone on and on about it, but share a few thoughts with us as you've reflected on this great journey throughout your career.
Well, I think, listen, I feel so fortunate to think that I had the opportunity to play 20 years in the NFL. Never in my wildest dreams did I think that would be a reality. I can remember even going back to my high school football days when I never thought that I would get beyond high school in regards to, being an athlete. I played sports because I loved it. I certainly always hoped and dreamed that I would have the opportunity to play at the next level. I had a chance to go to Purdue and have 4 great years there and then get drafted by the San Diego Chargers, 5 years in San Diego, and then 15 years with the Saints. And so many incredible memories. Had the chance to play with so many great teammates, great coaches, learned so much along the way. But I think just the biggest impact in my life was the opportunity, I think, to be a part of the resurgence in New Orleans post-Katrina. That was such a rare event. And really, I feel like divine intervention and a calling to end up there under really crazy circumstances. And yet to look back on the 15 years there has been pretty remarkable.
Yeah, I was going to ask you more about that. You've obviously formed such a special connection with the people there and the state, a bond that obviously was sealed not just because you brought the Saints their first ever Super Bowl title, but because, as you said it, the rebirth of New Orleans after Katrina. What does that city and the state mean to you?
Well, so much. That was when I ended up in New Orleans. That was a time when I was coming off a major shoulder injury. I had injured my throwing shoulder my very last game with the San Diego Chargers, and I'll be honest, there were moments where I never thought I would play football again. And New Orleans was one of only 2 teams that came knocking, and I think their belief in me gave me so much confidence. But I also knew that it was much more than just football. I knew that I think you learned very quickly that New Orleans is a very unique town, from the culture to the people. And coming off of Katrina, which it was 6 months post-Katrina when I signed there, I think we all realized that, football was just a means to provide hope and inspiration to that city and all that they were to overcome coming off of Katrina. And, there were those times where, our fan base would, just sell out the Superdome and find ways to be there, find ways to support our team when they were in the process of rebuilding their homes, rebuilding their lives. And so I think we felt this great sense of responsibility that every time we stepped on the football field, finding a way to win did so much for our community. And it just gave them a little extra pep in their step. And it continued to bring our community together, knowing and making them feel that, we could overcome anything, and not were we just going to come back, but we were going to come back stronger and better than ever.
Yeah, your final game at the Superdome, obviously, last season. So you said goodbye to your on-field playing days, but we're excited to have you join NBC Sports, especially since you'll be analyzing Notre Dame games alongside the great Mike Tirica. How are you prepping from that transition, Drew, from the field to the studio?
Yeah, that's we've already begun that process. I've had some great conversations and already began to work with Mike Tirico a little bit and the NBC team, and I'm getting really excited about that. I'll actually have a chance to meet Coach Kelly and some of his staff, and have a chance to see a Notre Dame practice coming up here pretty soon in anticipation for the season. So it's definitely a transition. Going from being an NFL quarterback to now, having to kind of jump into the college game, of which I'm obviously a huge fan. It's funny, when we travel on road trips, or even, after our Saturday morning walkthrough, when I come home to hang out with my family before our games on Sunday, I'm always turning on college football games, and so, but diving into it at this level, really kind of understanding the college football landscape, and obviously the contenders, of which certainly Notre Dame is one of them. It's going to be exciting to see them grow and develop on a week-to-week basis, develop those relationships, and obviously not only be a representation for NBC and college football, but certainly I know the Notre Dame faithful as they're watching games every Saturday.
Yeah, before you go, I do want to ask you about one of those now Notre Dame legends, and he's compared to you. He's being compared to you as he makes that jump to the NFL. And we're talking about Ian Book. He's the all-time winningest quarterback here at Notre Dame and led him to some pretty important games over the last couple of seasons. What are you seeing from Ian? Obviously similar in size, and he has some range, and he likes to get on the run. What are you seeing in Ian as he makes that jump to the next level?
Yeah, I think the first thing you see is just his heart toughness and competitive drive. You said it, winningest quarterback in Notre Dame history. And there's a nice list of QBs that have come through Notre Dame. So that's saying a lot. And I actually had the chance to watch Notre Dame play quite a bit last year. Obviously, that big win at home against Clemson. I tuned in for most of the fourth quarter and the two overtimes. So to watch the team come up with some really, really big wins, and obviously, put themselves in a position, to really make a run at it towards the end. Obviously, Ian Book was a huge part of that and has been his whole career. You could tell that his teammates loved him. He had endeared himself to his teammates. I think that's the number one trait a quarterback can have, is that he's bringing out the best in his teammates, and his teammates will run through a wall for him. And certainly you got that impression when you watch the way the team would rally around him. And I'm sure that he's got high expectations for the NFL. I think his skill set certainly carries over. He's an athletic guy who can run and make plays with his legs, obviously throws the ball very well. So I think he's got a bright future.
Well, Drew, certainly you had some incredible moments, and congratulations on an outstanding career, a Hall of Fame career, and we're looking forward to seeing you here in South Bend in the coming months.
Thank you. Looking forward to it as well.
All right. Thank you. Drew Brees joining us on Notre Dame Day.